because I couldn't stop. And it got better after a while, but over the course of this, the awfulness has kind of made it, I think, just overload again. So,
over the course of this trial?
This trial, yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to pick up.
I think I was doing that with Pavlovich too, actually.
Excuse me?
I think I was doing that with Pavlovich too, actually.
When you were in Detective Pavlovich's car?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I was, when my leg was, it used to just be like my leg would kind of twitch or shake.
Okay.
So.
Let me ask you some questions about what you told Detective Pavlovich. And this is going to be Exhibit 170 that I'm referring to, I believe. This statement you made to Detective Pavlovich.
Yes.
I beg, Mr. O'Toole corrects me and says it's 111.
Okay.
In any event, it's the transcript of the statement that you made to Detective Pavlovich. And I would just ask the court clerk to make sure I'm referring to the correct exhibit number. Let the record reflect that the prosecutor is giving me a look, indicating that he knows this off the top of his head. I'm at a lower pay grade. I'm sorry? 111?
Yes.
Thank you. I will own my faults. So, referring to the transcript of the statement you gave to Detective Pavlovich. First of all, I think it's been established that you were lying to him for a good portion of that statement. Is that right?
Yes, I was.
And that was something that you guys had decided to do, right?
Yes, it was.
Once you pulled onto that property, as you were pulling up to the property, at what point did you think, this is it, we either go in now or this is our last chance to turn around and go back?
In fact, from the moment that we saw the black helicopter, it's like, okay.
What does that mean? It's like, okay, you're going to need
That, well, there's here now, so we pretty much have to go over and do whatever, and if it works, then it works, and if not, then it doesn't.
So you assumed that the folks in the helicopter had spotted you?
Yes.
And assumed that you were somehow related?
It seemed that if we had turned around and went back, it would have seemed suspicious.
Okay. So you got in there, I think it was Detective Chafee testified that he greeted you guys at the car, is that right?
Yes.
Did all his testimony seem about correct to you?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went up and I think we saw the video from the television news.
Yes.
And you got in the truck with Detective Pavlovich, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So, let me just ask you as a general matter, first of all, the stuff that you told him in the beginning about going to Vegas and all that stuff, was any of that correct?
We actually were going to Vegas to get married, yes.
Okay. But you had come up with that story the day before, right?
Well, the day before we were taken in, yes.
So, when you went up and saw Wayne and Judy right before killing them,
yes.
had you really gone up there to say, hey, we're going to Vegas to get married?
Unfortunately, no. That's what should have happened.
But that's not what really happened, correct?
No.
Okay.
And apparently no amount of wishing can make it otherwise.
I'm sorry.
And apparently no amount of wishing can make it otherwise.
No amount of wishing
Yeah.
could make it otherwise? Right.
I tried.
Okay. So, but then for the first couple of hours of your talking to him, you persisted with this story, right?
Mm-hmm. Partially for him, to throw him off of show, partially because I was trying to go and believe that myself.
Okay. But at a certain point, he confronted with you, right? He confronted you, right?
At a certain point, he started confronting me, and honestly, at that point, I didn't believe him.
You didn't believe him about what?
that Shell was talking.
Shell was talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I couldn't be the one to go and put Shell in danger like that. So I'm like, no, I don't know. Eventually he said something that she had said that there was an argument with Wayne and that she had started fighting with him, and that's where I was like, no. Like I said, I thought that just going off like killing somebody was actually worse than premeditation because worse than premeditation because somebody who premeditates is, it seemed to me to be somebody who would be a lot less likely to kill somebody. Would be a lot less likely to kill somebody because that's somebody who has actually, one would imagine somebody who had been like, okay, pushed to a point where they like kind of snapped.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Did you really have all these thoughts about premeditation right before the crime? I mean, one of the big issues...
Right before the crime?
Yes. And in deciding what to tell Detective Pavlovich?
In deciding what to tell him, yes.
One of the big issues, obviously, at the first part of this trial, right, was whether you had premeditated or not, right?
Yes.
So we talked a whole lot about that.
Yes.
Had you really thought a whole lot about that? And whether it was premeditated or not, what that meant to the severity of the crime?
No, it's one of those things where I just had, in the back of my head, I just kind of thought that if you had, for example, somebody who had premeditated it would probably have some kind of reason as opposed to somebody who was just upset. And that's just some basic thing. Like I said, I didn't actually know one way or the other.
You've studied a lot of things. You studied robotics and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, but I haven't studied law.
Never studied law. But back in, I think it was 2005, you wrote in your journal, right?
Yeah.
About being concerned that somebody was going to attack the trailer or the mobile home where you guys were at Fall City.
Yeah.
And you had stomped around the park there with a crowbar.
Yeah.
And you had written, if I do get arrested, paraphrasing here, this is going to be used against me at trial, premeditated murder?
Actually, I think that I wrote that in response to a different incident, but yeah.
Okay, but you had written premeditated murder. As much as everybody wants me to pull out the journal and read the whole thing again.
Yeah.
You had written about premeditated murder a couple of years prior to this, right?
Yes.
And so you knew it was serious, right?
Any death is serious, yes.
You knew it was wrong. There's no question about...
There is no question that any death is wrong.
And these were not just any deaths, were they?
These were not just any deaths, no. These were innocent people who I personally liked, who had actually personally helped me, they were children, and it was wrong on so many levels, and just often on so many levels I was having a hard time accepting it myself, and that's part of why I was persisting in as a whole. No, it was something completely else, because I was having a hard time handling it myself. Like I said, I wasn't just saying that for his benefit, I was saying it for mine as well.
Well, Joe, when Detective Pavlovich said something to the effect of, they're at the hospital, meaning the victims, we're going to see if they're okay. I mean, you'd moved Wayne and Judy out to the shed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then not only had you shot everybody or helped shoot everybody on the 24th, you went back on the 25th and moved some things around in the living room and picked up the couches, looked for the batteries.
Mm-hmm.
They were still lying there.
Yes.
Right? I mean, they hadn't moved.
Yes.
Any question in your mind that they were completely dead at that point?
At that point? No.
Okay.
It wasn't until he went off and I said, well, they're at the hospital. I was like, really? Maybe they won't.
Well, I mean,
if they were, then I was concerned that they would be like really badly brain damaged.
Well, but couldn't you at that point have said, actually, Detective, I don't see how that's possible. My goodness, there's no way they're alive. You could have said that, right?
Well, he said they were at the hospital. Maybe he knew something I didn't.
Let me ask you this. There was a lot made of the fact that when you were talking to Detective Pavlovich, you were free to go at any point up to a certain point where you admitted things, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever ask to go? Yes or
not,
no?
No, I did not, no.
Did you feel like
No.
looking... You gotta wait for the question here.
Sorry.
Did you feel like if you had said, you know something, detective, I don't think I want to talk anymore. I think I'd just like to walk away from here now.
Yeah, right. No.
You didn't feel like that was an option?
No way.
Why not?
Because if I said that, from the moment that an officer tells you, goes and looks at you and says, hey, come over here. At that moment, you are unofficially, in custody. Now, you're unofficially in custody until he's ready to either release you or to either release you or put you officially in custody. So, and you're there until he's done with you. Also, it would be rude. Not that that's the main reason, I know, of all the things, right? But, no, what I'm saying is that once he tells you, come over here, you're there until he's done with you.
That was your opinion?
Yes.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. At a certain point, Detective Pavlovich says to you, and this is on page 62 of Exhibit 111, what I'd like to find out from you so that we're able to be as fair with you as possible is what was going on up there and why you think it happened. That can be very important for Michelle. So what I'm asking you now is to be honest with me. Tell me what happened up there. Michelle's already telling us the reason I'm not telling you everything, she's saying, is because, and you say, I know why you're not telling me. And he says, we need to make sure that, see if you're telling the truth and if she's telling the truth. And you agree with him.
Yes.
So at that point, pretty much from there onward, you start to tell the story, right?
Yes.
But you're still holding back, right? There's still, for instance, on the very next page, page 63 of 138, I think you had said at the bottom of the previous page, or you had said, I know that there was an argument, and you say, but I don't know what the argument was about. Right?
Yeah.
But you did know what the argument was about, didn't you?
I didn't know for sure what the argument was about, no.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I didn't know for sure what it was about. I wasn't thinking about it.
Were you thinking, how did you interpret this question? Did it refer to an argument that had happened on Christmas Eve or some larger previous argument?
I believe that my understanding was that it was a reference to some argument that they might have been having right then.
Right then on Christmas Eve?
Yeah, and I'm not sure what it was about. I think it was probably about the money or something else for the call. Which two parties did you think this argument referred to? Michelle would be one, but who do you interpret it as referring to? The other party to the argument? This particular argument, if I'm mistaken about the point in time, would be between Wayne and Michelle.
Okay. So, and as you move towards the bottom of page 63 and onto page 64, the detective tells you, I know some gunshots took place. I know Michelle did some shooting. She's told us that. What did you see happen? It's okay to tell me, Joe. Michelle's already been talking to us as well. But again, we want to make sure we treat her as fairly as possible. And you say, yeah. And then he tells you some more. That's why I need you to tell me to make sure that what you're saying is consistent with her. And you say, I don't know what happened. I don't know. But again, you did know, didn't you?
Yes, I did know. At this point, I still did not believe him. I was starting to believe him, but I wasn't sure. I was basically trying to say, it's like, look, if you can give me some idea that you're really telling me that she really said something, then I will go off and say something. But I couldn't just kind of say it because I couldn't be the reason that she... I don't know. I couldn't be the reason to put her in trouble. In danger. Not trouble, danger. Sorry.
Let me ask you this.
So I suppose it would be the same thing.
Certainly for a portion of this statement, you were trying to mislead the detectives, correct?
Yes.
No question about that?
No question about that, no.
Did that change at some point?
Yes.
And at a certain point, did you start to could tell as best you could what you remember?
Once I established that yes, Michelle, he actually had talked to Michelle, then okay, then there was no point in holding back then, so I didn't hold it back anymore.
Okay, but there was some points in here where you said some things that I guess there could be argument about whether you were still telling the truth or whether you were still trying to color or shade the truth.
Okay.
Did you feel like you were continuing, that you were trying to do that you were continuing to mislead in certain ways?
No, I was trying to give him everything that he needed. I was actually trying to give him everything he needed. I was trying to give him everything that they would need to go off, like, solve the case and close it right there without having any more investigation and without any more expenditure. I felt bad enough about what had happened. I didn't want them to have to, like, waste any more expenses or effort or time or any of that. There was much more important things that they could have been doing than dealing with this, and I thought I was freeing them up to do so.
Hey, Joe. I'm guessing that you might have thought of some of those things in the last 7 years as you sat there in jail, right?
What?
About how if you solve it for them quickly, that's going to save resources or whatever. Did you think about some of those things?
I've thought about that as well, yes.
Okay. Well, my question is whether you really had that thought in your mind.
Yes.
You really were thinking of that?
Yes.
You had kind of...
I don't like being a drain on. I don't like being a drain on things. I don't like being a drain. I don't like being a burden on people.
Being a burden?
Yeah. I mean, okay, cool. Yep, here it is. There's a case wrapped up nice in a gift box for you. There you go. I thought that was all that they would need.
So, I mean, looking at page 78 on Exhibit 111.
Yeah.
You're kind of starting to go through the details here, and the detective says, you killed Judy and Wayne, and Scott and Erica arrived. And you say, I don't know. I really don't. Right?
Yeah.
But you really did know, didn't you?
I'm not sure why I was saying that now.
I mean, because that makes it look like you're still not being fully forthcoming, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's... I think I was trying to get the sequence right. I'm sorry. You know, I'm trying to remember exactly what I said. I think I was trying to get the sequence right, but I'm not sure. But I wasn't trying to mislead him. Like I said, I was trying to go off and give him everything that he needed.
To this day, as we sit here, when you think about the incident, which you say that you do, right?
All the time, yeah.
Do you always feel like the details are the same, or do you sometimes forget details? Or
occasionally I forget details, and occasionally I just end up focusing on some of the details. But for the most part, it's very much the same. It's very much as I told you just now and the other day. A lot of it is actually... Here's the thing is that a lot of it, the most parts are sealed into my memory, okay? And those other parts that are just missing. So...
Why are they missing?
I don't know. They're just missing. I can't say why. They just are.
Something you said the other day, you said, well, at least they didn't suffer. Remember saying that?
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking that maybe Erica, as she was shot full of holes and had just watched her husband get shot down in front of herself and her kids, and she's watching her kids there, I'm kind of thinking maybe she suffered. What do you think?
She probably suffered doing that, yes. I imagine that Judy probably suffered while watching Wayne die. I imagine that Olivia was suffering while she was there with a bullet in her, or at least through her, and seeing her mom and little brother die. I imagine that Nathan was suffering during that period too. I was trying to keep it down as much as I could.
Keep it down? What does that mean?
Keep the suffering down as much as I could. I can't say that I was able to keep there from being no suffering, I guess, but I really believe that if this had happened and I didn't want anybody to suffer any more than absolutely necessary for such a thing. Even though such a thing was...
I can't hear this, Your Honor.
I didn't want anybody to suffer then was absolutely not necessary for such a thing, but such a thing wasn't necessary, was it? So it's... But I thought it was, and so I was trying to keep it from being any worse than it had to be. Even though I knew it was... I don't know, I didn't like it, but I didn't want it to be any worse than it already was.
As Michelle was talking about this, and you were talking about this with her in the months leading up to this, was there any discussion of how she wanted to kill these people?
Yeah, Erica and Judy specifically, she'd actually want to torture them, actually. She really wanted to hurt them. She was very angry at both of them, and I had managed to talk her out of that at least. Managed to talk her out of that at least, and that's another one of the reasons I was there, because I was concerned that left her alone, or anger might get the better of her, and she might be cruel in, I know, murdering them isn't exactly nice in the first place, but no, I mean, murdering them isn't exactly nice in the first place, but I mean, as opposed to a simple end, like what she did with Erica, how she shot home a number of times. You know?
So Joe, you had some sense going up there that you might need to be there to make sure she didn't torture these people?
There was some concern about that, yeah.
In other words, just to kill them quickly so that they... Okay, yeah. So that sounds like you were going up there for more than just backup, right? I mean, the question was, like, along the lines of, did you think you were going to have to kill anybody, right? And now you're saying, well, maybe so.
No, I still didn't think I would actually have to kill anybody.
Well, how does that square with your thought that you wanted to prevent torture?
You don't need to go off. No, I thought I could go off and prevent torture with my presence, not by killing them.
By your presence?
Yeah.
I see. You said to the detective that you used to think that violence was cool. Tell us about that statement, and why did you think that violence was cool?
I used to, well, I think every American male ends up watching a lot of, gets exposed to a lot of violent shows and violent whatever, right? I mean, like WWF and UFC and...
I don't know what UFC is.
It's kind of like WWF, except it's small, real, little proteins again.
So it's some kind of a fighting sport on TV?
Yeah, it's a fighting sport that draws that it's more real than WWF, because in WWF people, it's kind of staged, right?
Without too much detail. You're just saying it's more realistic.
Yeah, it's more realistic. The whole idea is that these people are actually bleeding, and there's a chance that their bones are really getting broken and stuff. Actually bleeding, and they're really getting the bones broken and stuff like that. And it's drawn, right? That it is more violent, that it's more real than WWF.
Did you like watching that a lot on TV?
I don't think I ever actually saw it on TV, but I was interested in it, right? Schwarzenegger movies, war movies, all that stuff, right? And I can't, after that experience, like I said, even going off on like the little Lego guys running around with little blocks that look vaguely like guns, and, you know, blasting other Lego guys into little pieces with those, that was too much for me. To this day, I can't read. There are certain books that I just cannot read. There are certain images that I just cannot come anywhere, you know. It's funny that you guys talk about The Crow. I don't think I could watch that now. The Crow, the movie, The Crow, I don't think I could watch that now. I don't think I could handle that now.
There's killing in that?
Yeah, and I don't think I could handle it now.
Joe, did you used to dress up as the Crow as a child?
For Halloween, well, not as a child, but as a teenager for Halloween.
Once or more than once?
A couple times. My favorite color has always been black because I was born right before Halloween, right? And if you have a decent amount of black clothing and long black hair, well, I mean, you basically got the entire costume right there, don't you?
Right.
You know?
Let me ask you about what you said to Detective Pavlovich about me and Shell, we were one person. What hurt her hurt me. What did you mean by that?
I'm very reactive to other people's feelings.
You what?
I'm very what?
Reactive to other people's feelings. Sensitive.
It's a little ironic. Sorry, go ahead.
Isn't it though? So I'm very sensitive to other people's feelings, and so, I mean, a lot of what she felt, I felt a lot of what I really subsumed a lot of myself to how she wanted me to be and to being what she needed me to be, what we felt that she needed me to be. And, I mean, as the years went on, I mean, she really chipped away almost everything about me until I was really her attack dog when this stuff happened. Guard dog, when this stuff happened.
Guard dog?
Yeah. Like I said, I used that term because she trained me she told me that she was training me like a dog. But afterwards, she'd be so nice.
Joe, you, well, I guess the question is, how long did that go on? How long did you continue to feel like you were one person with her?
There was actually a specific thing in here that actually occurred once I was in here, about 5-6 months down the line.
Okay, so when you say in here, you mean in jail?
In jail, yes.
So before that point, 5 or 6 months down the line, what did you still think that the thing she had been saying about danger from the family and all was correct?
I think that I realized that immediately afterward that was crap, and then I think I forgot about that.
Because you said last week or Monday, you said, I didn't realize till this past weekend.
Yeah, I think that I forgot about that, or that I just didn't really want to think about that.
So were you lying? I mean, how can the jury believe you, Joe, if you're going to change your testimony? That's the question. Fair question?
It's a very fair question. No, it's a very fair question. And I mean, if I was lying to anybody, I was lying to myself. And I think I just really didn't want to go and face the reality that was an obvious. In fact, I think even when I realized it, back then, I don't think that I'd really tripped on it just the obvious. Oh, well, they want to attack us right on the day that I wanted to go off and attack them, huh? I don't think I really put that two and two together. I don't think I really did that math until the other day. That's what I was trying to say. But I might be wrong.
Tell us about what of the things that she had told you continued to believe as you were in jail for the first few months. Did you still believe that?
I still believe that she actually had been really badly abused, even to the point of psychological torture when she was young, for example. And this is one of the things that I thought that she had sold me on Nathan and Olivia being forced through. And things a lot that she was unwanted, that she was really kind of despised by her family.
Did she tell you that she didn't have birthday parties or something as a child?
Yeah, that she was just kind of really shut off to the side, and that she was seen as basically extraneous, just unnecessary. Nobody really wanted her around, which ironically I felt a lot of resonance to, and really wanted.
Louder, please. Sorry,
which I ironically felt a lot of resonance to, and really tried to I really believe that because she was so, I don't know, she seemed so volatile, so needing of attention and affection and stuff, and so I thought that, okay, maybe the reason that she's like this is because she was, so put over. I thought that proved it.
So what over?
So passed over, so ignored, so devalued.
So what was this event 5 or 6 months in that really changed your thinking? Tell us all about that, please. Five or 6 months into being in jail.
So me and my attorneys, including you, in fact, were in a little side room, and we were going through some picture. They were showing me some pictures. One of them involving this elaborate birthday party with this just elaborate, beautifully made cake that somebody had obviously put a lot of work and effort into.
Joe, in general, what were these pictures of? Before we get to this specific one.
Okay.
What, in general, were the pictures of?
They were pictures of Michelle's youth.
So, like, family photo album?
Yeah, it was like a family photo album.
Okay. And what did you see and what did you think?
So there was, like I was saying, there was this elaborate cake that somebody had made a lot of effort to go off and make really nice. There was this elaborate little bed that I remember was saying that she had made for her cat.
There was this
elaborate little bed that I remember saying that she had made for a cat. But in this particular sequence, it was being shown as they made it. Like, oh, they gave it to her. And it was really beautiful. And it's like, and every picture was, her happy and home with her family. And then, like, really showing her a lot of, showering her with love and affection and attention. I'm just like, what the hell is this?
What was your reaction?
I slammed my head into the table, and I couldn't raise it for about, slammed my head into the table, and I couldn't raise it for about 10 minutes. I was so overcome, just like, this was all bullshit? Nothing? Absolutely nothing? Are you fucking serious? I mean, since then it's just been like, so this is just because she was so spoiled that she felt that she was entitled to this stuff and was angry because she wasn't getting away, and that's all it was. And I had my head too far up my ass to figure that out. I'm just like, oh my god.
So Joe, have you had any contact with Michelle since you've been in jail?
She's tried. I don't want anything to do with her.
Would you explain, please, how she has tried to contact you?
She has tried to, she tried to send a letter to me through some Stephen LePage guy.
Stephen LePage?
Yeah.
And do you remember approximately when this letter arrived?
Within the first year, I believe.
Okay.
Sometime in 2008.
I'm showing.
Defendants Exhibit 3 or 4 marked for identification.
Thank you. I'm showing you what's been marked Defense Exhibit 304 for identification.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize that?
Yep.
What is that?
That's Michelle's handwriting. That's the letter she sent through me. I mean, through Stephen LePage, Mr. LePage.
Okay. Offer this letter into evidence.
No objection.
Okay, so Joe, I want you to look at 304 there, and I want you to just, first of all, flip to the second page of it. What does that show?
Second page?
The envelope.
Oh, okay.
Is there a return address on the envelope?
Yes.
Would you just read that into the record, please?
Stephen LePage, 4017 Camelot, number 4. Memphis, Tennessee, 38118. There is no note as to whether Camelot is a road or an avenue or just Camelot.
That's fine. Is there a date on the top of that letter? The top of the...
28th July 2008.
Is there a date on the actual letter itself?
7/21/08.
Okay.
I would also note that the letter itself has been, there's tails at the top and bottom. Like,
Okay.
I know that this particular, we're able to get legal pad. We were able to get legal pads and regular size sheets of paper. This was actually a legal size sheet of paper originally.
So are you still allowed to have legal size sheets of paper in the jail?
Yeah. I mean, no, we're still allowed to buy legal size sheets of paper.
I see.
Yeah, but this is, and it's actually the same kind. So this was actually originally legal size sheet of
Okay.
paper.
Were you allowed to have contact with Michelle then?
No, nor did I want it.
Was there some kind of no contact order in effect?
Probably.
Okay. I'm going to just I want to put the actual exhibit on the elbow, and I have a copy of it, and I would like you to just please read what she wrote to you on this letter.
Okay.
You would please read it as...
Okay, I'm just waiting for you to tell me you're ready.
I'm ready. Just make sure you keep your voice up and go slowly enough.
Joe, I want you to know that I've spoken to John, the longshoreman, for advice.
I can't hear you, but I've spoken to...
Okay. I wanted you to know that I have spoken to John, the longshoreman, for advice. John is a friend of that gentleman that is nicknamed Crow.
Hold on, Joe. You got to slow down. John is a friend.
Is a friend of that gentleman that is nicknamed Crow.
Okay, just go slowly enough because it's difficult to get this all down in the record.
Yeah, I imagine so.
What's next?
The two of them have possession of tremendous wisdom, intuition, and insight. So it is with great obligation that I feel compelled to pass along his advice. John said that you will not succeed in being acquitted regardless of what you've been told. Your options, unfortunately, are life imprisonment or execution by lethal injection. When I asked him about prison, his description was rather graphic. Indeed, it is not the college campus, that's in quotes by the way.
That's what?
In quotes, the college campus is in quotes, that some of the public defenders have tried to mislead inmates into believing. But you don't have to take my second-hand advice. Ask Crow. He'll confirm that John said this. You really should contact Como and tell him that you are looking for a private attorney. You have enough money to obtain one, despite what others might believe. People are either ignorant of the cost, or they don't want to see anyone receiving fair legal representation.
Slow down a little.
Yes. I heard that the keep separate order only applied to physical proximity, but at any event had expired because new counsel had been sought by your co-defendant.
Had expired?
No.
Because new counsel had been sought by your co-defendant. Sought. I also heard that it had been forged anyway. I asked John about this, and he said that there is no law that existed that stated that it's mandatory for co-defendants to be separate and tried individually. Just thought that you'd like to know this. Before I forget, I wanted to mention that there was a reunion party, that also is in quotes, scheduled for 2012. I know that you won't be able to make it, but I had to mention that you had at least been invited. You were never forgotten. Here's the phone number that I meant to write earlier. 206-404-4145, Molly Gintel.
Marley?
Gintel. MARLEEGINTER. I think that about covers everything. Well, I know of two very critical things that you need to know, but they can't be put into writing. We'll figure something out. Let me know if you think of anything. I've been reading a lot in my spare time. I keep having a recurring dream about a room with 3 lancet windows and a wooden door with a lancet windows and a wooden door with those long wrought iron hinges used from the 12th century to the 17th. It has a transom window above the door.
It has what?
A transom window above the door, inlaid with a stained glass design. The room is almost completely bare, with the exception of a Barcelona chair and a stone dais of sorts. D-A-I-S. I'm not sure if I pronounced it
I
correctly.
didn't hear it.
D-A-I-S. I'm not sure I pronounced that correctly. The whole room is made from stones, actually. It looks very much like a castle on the inside. I don't mean to bore you. I just thought you'd like to have something to read. I can't think of anything else. Take it easy. S.
So, Joe, what did you do when you got this letter? What did you do with it?
I think the first thing that I did was note that she didn't actually say that she loved me at any point. But what I did with it is I brought it to my attorneys.
Brought it to your attorneys?
Yes.
And who is John the Longshoreman?
John is the name that she has for her spirit guide. My understanding was that it was Stephen, but whatever.
I'm sorry.
Understanding was that his name was in fact Stephen, but whatever.
You thought his name was Stephen?
And that's
Spirit
what I
guide?
told her.
Turns
Yes.
out to be John. How do we know he's a longshoreman?
By his dress. By his dress and attitude.
Is this something she described to you?
Actually, it's something I described to her.
You described that to her?
Mhm.
How did you learn what John the Longshoreman looks like?
She actually didn't even know who he was or if he was male or female. She has a really hard time. She said that basically it's because she has such a hard time trusting anybody. And so she asked if I could see that through a crow, and so I did so.
How
And-
exactly did you try to see this through Crow?
I don't know if I can particularly describe it any better than just an image in my head.
And did you say, hey, he looks like a longshoreman?
I described what he looked like as far as I could, which is, shall I?
Sure. Go ahead and please describe what he looks like.
Okay. I describe him as being somewhere between 5'10" and 6 feet. Strong forearms. At some point there was rain gear, like a rain slicker. Clean shaven, short dark curly hair. Very muscular. Gray sweater of the big knobby kind that like long from big knobby kind.
How could you tell if he was wearing a sweater if he had a rain slicker on?
It's kind of an overlaid image.
It sounds like a Gordon's Fisherman. Aren't you just copying a commercial or something?
No. The Gordon's Fisherman has a beard. It's an overlay. It's kind of an weird overlaid image where it's like, on one hand, he would have like a yellow slickerish thingy, and kind of hat, and in another, no hat, no slickerish thingy, and his sleeves, his sweater rolled up his to his bicep.
So when you were still with Michelle, did you guys talk about John the Longshoreman and talking to Crow or something?
Yeah, she was very interested in that.
She was very interested in that?
Yes.
How often did you have this discussion?
We talked about that really every day. Sometimes I'd say both in the morning and in the evening.
Sometimes
Usually
you'd say what, Joe?
both in the morning and in the evening. Well, it was morning or evening to us anyway.
Joe, So you talked a few minutes ago. Well, let me ask you one more past detail, and we're almost done here. You talked about the loans that supposedly there were, or loan between